Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle DeTeach, or Coach Danny D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas. And I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hi, this is Coach Danny D with the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm also the owner of Workflow, where I help small business owners play big. So, today's episode, I want to talk about social media, and I want to talk about it from the standpoint of influence and the influence that it has over you as a business owner and just as a person. So, as a business owner, social media is probably one of the biggest things that we can list as an advantage in the current times as far as businesses are concerned, because through social media you're able to connect with people on a broader scale than you could, let's say, with a brick and mortar, or if pre social media, when you had to try to what do I say? When you had to try to advertise pre social media, then you had to go through an advertising agency. It's very expensive, So there are definitely some huge benefits of social media as a tool in your marketing and advertising strategy. That's not what I want to talk about today, though. So that's great, and I'm not, I added that because I'm not. I want to be clear that even with the rest of the things that I want to talk about, I'm not bashing social media. Again, it's a tool, and with any tool, it can be used effectively. It can be used ineffectively, and sometimes, you know, everything has its benefits, and it has the other side. So there's some things that may not be beneficial, right? What I want to talk about is making sure that you're not allowing the influence of social media to distract, derail, destroy you. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because I see, a lot of people kind of fizzle based on what they're seeing on social media. Social media is curated. It doesn't matter who the person is that you follow, it's curated. Sometimes, you know, that's done with ill intention. Most times it's not. You know, I'll like I said, everyone curates their social media. I work in strategy. I help business owners create strategy. Strategy means, being strategic means that there is a plan behind what you do. So there are reasons why you post certain things. Um, there is a overall brand story that you're telling in your marketing, in your, posts in your social media. Or they should be. Let me just say that. There should be. Some people may not do that, but regardless of whether or not you're doing it intentionally, you are telling a story in how you post and what you post. You are creating a brand identity based on what you're posting. Here's the thing. You choose what that looks like. And some people will say, oh, well, they'll take that in a negative and say, oh, well, this person is hiding this or hiding that. It's not that a person is hiding, is that they choose to post what reflects what they are promoting, what their overall strategy is, right? So that's what you choose to post. Now, again, there's always, a spectrum, there's always levels to stuff. There are going to be some people who are consciously misleading people, who are posting things that are not reality, right? So, there's a difference between, well, I posted this happy occasion, but I might not have posted about this family member that passed away. That might not I might not have been ready to share that with my audience, or it may not fit. Like I have a balloon decor company. When everything started happening with COVID, and every all of the businesses were making posts and notices and all of this stuff around that, my brand, with the balloon business, is all about fun. It's all about fun and, bringing joy. So that didn't quite fit in that narrative. So I would never post, heavy stuff there. It doesn't mean heavy stuff doesn't happen. That doesn't mean that, that's not, that I'm not aware of what's going on in the world. It just doesn't fit that brand. But I'm going to keep that balance of, there's certain things that don't fit the brand or don't fit the brand story that's being told, so they don't get posted on social media. Again, there is the other extreme where there's, people posting things that are false, posting, the cars, houses, this and everything else that is not that person's, and giving an illusion of a life that doesn't exist. There are people that are deceptive. If we go to the whole other spectrum, there are people that overshare. And you're like, whoa, like, what did this have to do with whatever, right? So that's the kind of just the lay of the land of social media. But here's the thing, what I've learned through networking, through getting in rooms with people who are, you know, further along in the journey than I am, what I've learned is we all, at the end of the day, have the same emotions. We were wired with the same emotions. Some may, be more prominent in one person than the other, but I have yet to meet someone who doesn't have um, anxiety, who doesn't have stress, who doesn't, sometimes feel depressed or sad, who doesn't have self doubt, who doesn't face fear on a daily basis. I've yet to meet that person. We may not call it by those names. We may not even be aware of it ourselves because we try to mask it, and we try to act like it doesn't exist. And part of the reason we try to act like it doesn't exist is because we see these other people, whether it's on social media, real life, wherever you're seeing these people, and they seem together. They seem like they have it all together. I was watching a show last night, and these two ladies were friends with one another. They had just met each other, but they were becoming friends. One lady was like helping the other one, and she found out the other lady needed help. And she was like, wow, I never would have thought you needed help. You seem like you have it all together. Here's the thing about all together. When you see other people, just like social media, all you see is the outside. You see what they present. You see the part of them that has been curated. They are presenting the part of themselves that they feel comfortable presenting, that they feel that they're supposed to be presenting, that, the self that they, for whatever reason, that's the part of them that they put on the surface. You don't see their inside thoughts. You don't see what, keeps them up at night. You don't see those things. And oftentimes what happens is because you don't see that, you know that you're experiencing that, then you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Because it seems like everybody else is having the time of their lives, living it up. Everybody else is doing all the things, and I am struggling just to maintain, or I am struggling to get to the next level. I am struggling trying to figure out how to face my fear. You're not the only one that is feeling that way. You're not the only one that is struggling with something. Everybody has a something that they're struggling with, whether it's, overcoming something in their past, trying to, trying to figure out what their next step is, just trying to make a decision in that moment. Everybody faces those same things, but they're not going to necessarily post that on social media. Some because maybe they don't want the world to know that. Some maybe because it just doesn't go along with that brand story. It's not it's not that they're leaving it out on purpose, but I guess they kind of are, but it's not that they're leaving it out maliciously. Let's say that. It's not that they're leaving it out maliciously. It's just that they are focusing on what their story is. Um, some, just may not feel comfortable being vulnerable in that way. And that's okay. But that means that as consumers of social media, consumers of, being in the room with these other people, you know, people, often talk about imposter syndrome. And one of the things that always kind of bothers me about that term and that idea, because imposter syndrome is basically when you feel like you're not that person, that everyone sees you as. Like you feel like, okay, people see me as, really together, but I'm ultimately, a hot mess. Like that's how you're feeling. And so you're projecting one image and you're feeling a different way behind the scenes. The reason why I, have a little bit of discomfort with the idea of imposter syndrome, it makes it seem like it's something that's going on with that person, when honestly I feel like it's a greater thing. I think that it's not that you are an imposter, or you feel like, you may feel like an imposter. I'm not saying that you don't, but it's that you see your full self and you're comparing that full self to other people's persona, their public self. And so that's why I struggle a little bit with imposter syndrome, with that term and that theory, because I think that if we were more honest and vulnerable as a whole, that people would not suffer with imposter syndrome. I think people would realize that they were just being human, and that the people that you look up to, the people that are, brilliant in your mind, also feel the same way. And they also have doubt, and they also have questions, and they also lean on a community to, figure things out. So I think if more people knew that, then they would not feel like an imposter. They would just feel human, because that's the reality. It's just you're just human. Um, I often say that we are all figuring it out. Like, you think, okay, well, so and so knows what they're doing, so and so, has it together. No, we're all figuring it out every day. We're using the knowledge and experience that we've had to help us to navigate situations. That's what everybody's doing. So, maybe somebody may have more knowledge about a thing than you. Maybe they've been doing it longer than you. So their navigation looks easier, but that doesn't mean that they're not legit. Like, what am I supposed to do? Because that's what's happening. People are just using their information in front of them to make the best decision in the moment. And that's all you have to do as well. Use the information in front of you to make the best decisions in a moment, and connect yourself with people who know some of the things that maybe you don't know, or have navigated those roads. They're still, again, trying to figure stuff out. Every person that I've, had a open, honest, vulnerable conversation with on all levels, it still boils down to the same thing. So I just wanted to share that because I don't want you to let that influence of social media have you sideways. And I think that it can do that if you are, if you start to get into that comparison mode. Remember, you're not comparing apples to apples, because you don't know that backstory. You don't know what's going on in that person's head. You don't know, you don't know that fullness. You just know what you see on the surface. And so when you're comparing that to your fullness, that's never going to be a fair comparison. And one more point that I want to hit just while we're on this subject of social media. If you are, I think this is probably one of the best pieces of advice that I received about social media, and I apply it to my life as well. If somebody, that you follow, a brand, a person, somebody that you even know in your personal life, if that person, if their post or their, point of view or whatever, if if your spirit is disturbed when you consume their content, just unfollow them. Just unfollow, because you have to be conscious of what you're consuming. What you're consuming is seeping into your brain. Just unfollow. It's okay. It's not a beef. It's not anything more than just saying, you know what? I don't need to be constantly exposed to this. Think about it like, I know, just globally as well as in, locally in the city. There's just been a lot going on. I haven't been watching the news because it's just a little too heavy right now. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Sometimes you just, you need to disconnect from certain things, and that's okay. And if somebody, I'm a big believer in possibility. I like to show people that it's possible. I like to show people if they don't see their own potential, I like to show people what their potential is. If somebody makes you feel like you can't do it, then you might want to unfollow that too. Because I mean, what do they say? I don't need that kind of energy in my life. I don't need that kind of energy in my life, because if God told me I can do it, can't nobody else tell me I can't. And, some people use that tactic of, making people feel small to need them. You know what I'm saying? Like you are you're not capable unless you work with me, that type of thing. Or you're not trying hard enough. The one thing I know about entrepreneurs that are hardest working people, and, I can't speak for everyone. We do have, some that think that it's magic, and that's another part of social media that, leads people to think that, you're just going to be an overnight success. There's that element, but by and large, entrepreneurs are hard workers. It's ultimately, you know, are you working on the right things? Are you putting your energy in the wrong space? That I find that is the difference between, success, and elevating your business. It's not that you don't have the work ethic. It's not that you're not putting in the time and the energy. And it's not that, people say, oh, well, you're not tired, you're just unmotivated. No, you're tired. You're tired because it's a lot. It's a lot of work. That's not it. It's that you may need a strategy, as opposed to just throwing things at the wall and seeing if it sticks. You may need a strategy. And that may be the difference maker in you ordering your steps so that you are doing things that are getting you incrementally to your goal. That's it and that's all. But if you feel like, well, I'm listening to this person and this person is just telling me I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not, then just disconnect, because that's not the vibe that's going to get you to success. Success comes from confidence and knowing that you can be successful and being consistent in it. And that comes from a place of positivity, not a place of negativity. That's my opinion. That's my viewpoint. So I don't want to get too far off of topic, but just know that you are human. You have all of the emotions that the next person has. So when you see, someone on social media, and some people do a very good job of being vulnerable and sharing that side of themselves, but sometimes it just doesn't fit again with the brand story. And so they may share parts of themselves, but they may not share all of themselves. And that's their right, because we all have to decide what our level of vulnerability and openness is, because we do have to protect ourselves as well. So that's their right to decide what that looks like. But I don't want you to assume that it's all on the table, and that, these other things are just something that you're struggling with. You are not alone in that struggle to manage your emotions alongside of your journey. They it all comes together. And I promise you, I have yet to meet someone that doesn't have the emotional component of fear, doubt, anxiety, sadness. You know, again, I'm not a big believer in the scope of imposter syndrome, but I do feel like people definitely struggle with it. I just think, again, that it's something more related to us not knowing that these things are just a part of being human. So I will leave you guys with that. I did speak a little bit about strategy. If you are looking to create a strategy to start moving your business in a different direction, I'm here, Coach Danny D. You can always go to coachdannyd.com, and you can either book a discovery call or sign up for uh, my workshop that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. But, I would love to work with you and help you with that strategy so that you can get a little more focused on your entrepreneurial journey. but also just, check in on some of the videos. You can go and watch the podcast if you want to watch it. You can go on YouTube, but there are also some other videos there as well that speak to this, because I try to speak as much as possible to us having emotional awareness as entrepreneurs, as women, just knowing that those things are there. They all have their place. I did an episode a couple of episodes back where I talked about, fear and confidence and putting them both in their proper place. None of your emotions should be discarded or ignored. They all have their place. There's a reason why they exist within you. It's just, again, being aware of them, acknowledging them, and putting them in their proper places so that they do what they're supposed to do and don't take over what you are supposed to be doing. So, that's something else that I work with people with. So again, you can always go to coachdanid.com, and you can connect with me there, or you can follow me at Your Workflow on Facebook and Instagram. And I look forward to seeing you, working with you guys, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at coachdannyd.com.